Hi guys, I'm Tammy K. Welcome back to another video. And today I wanted to talk to you about 4 things that might be ruining your watercolor painting and your experience. And without further ado, I just want to get into it because I've got some things to show you. Of course I'm going to be painting because we always typically paint in our videos. But just listen up because these things might not be exactly described as you might expect. So let's get to it. So the first thing that might be frustrating you or ruining your paintings might be your paper. And I got a lot of different types of paper here, and I just wanted to go over them because I think it's really important to distinguish between different types, what's better, what's worse, because here's the thing. Honestly, what you're gonna hear out there is that you need to paint with 100% cotton paper, such as something like this. And I'm here to disagree with that because I don't think that is necessarily the whole picture or the whole story. So yes, the idea is that this paper, which is professional as expensive, is going to give you a better experience when you're doing watercolor. It just has a really nice lining. It's that gelatin layer. Of course, all watercolor paper has it, but that helps to keep the paint from sinking in. And then you have cotton paper versus a pulp paper, which is just, my daughter was painting with me here, which is just, it's wood pulp essentially, and it's cheaper and it doesn't allow the color to spread in the same way or lay in the same way. Sometimes you get really weird blooms. So my philosophy is a little bit different than other people. I wanted to show you a brand that I love that is student grade because I'm all about affordability. This is Tumuarta. This is my daughter's journal. Hopefully she's okay with me showing this. It comes in a very large form. Then I've got all their journals because I absolutely love them. We've got this 8x8, and I will link these below as well so that you can take a look and see based on the referral links that I have if these are the type of journals that you would like. Okay, so we've got the journals. This is a beautiful size for landscapes and such. And then we've got, that's the portrait, right? And then this is the landscape position. And it's beautiful because you've got that really nice, these are all 300 or 140 pounds, I should say. And they are watercolor paper. They're gonna hold the color and it's really good practice. I've got these tiny ones, this is a little bit larger right here. And all these beautiful, great options. And I do believe with Tumuarta that and this is the brand right here, I do believe there's something like 25% cotton in there. So that might be the case. I'm not 100% sure on that. I do believe that's true. We have this one who is a handbook journal company. And also it's got that really nice weight to it, but it's a pulp paper. And yet so many people tell us we need to paint on cotton. But here's the thing. If I'm sitting in front of a piece of cotton paper and I am here just to learn and just to practice, and I haven't worked anything out yet, I'm gonna be terrified knowing that this cost is way more than this cheaper one over here. And it's even not the cheapest you can get. You could get something like the B Company watercolor artist pad. Sorry, that scratched off. There's no paper left because I've used it so much. It is great for practice, and at Walmart it's like 11 bucks for 9x12 sheets, 50 sheets. And so if you're practicing and if you are sitting terrified in front of cotton paper, which cotton is amazing, and I do paint with it most of the time with my videos, but if you are afraid to mess up and you're just trying to practice, how effective is your journey gonna be if you're just like, I don't know what's gonna happen? These are great brands. They're more affordable cotton paper, Meaden and Academy. It's technically the same type of paper. Absolutely love them. I will link them below as well if you're interested in checking them out. But I don't want you to be afraid that you have to paint with professional and then just not want to put the brush strokes on paper. That is not going to be helping you. So that's why maybe the type of paper could be ruining your paintings, especially for practice. Something to think about, and maybe I could be totally off base, but that's kind of the mindset that I have. Now, if you have a piece of paper that is buckling, if you have it in a journal, make sure to get a nice handy dandy little clip, and that's gonna help your paper lay flat. If you have a piece of paper that is out, that is just a loose one, you can take some tape and tape around it, and then you're gonna have a nice piece of paper that lays flat. So rethinking how you see paper might help you to relax and enjoy your painting process more, have less of that ruining experience just because the thought in your head is not going to be as stressed out. So the next thing is talking about paint. What kind of paint is out there? There's so many options, and especially if you're a beginner, trying to figure out and sift through all the bad ones to find the good things that are affordable. So here I have a wide variety of different types of paint, but the majority are student grade. And so what if you're painting, you're sitting down with Crayola, okay? And because I always say use what you have, but you're having a frustrating time. Well, here's why. With the really cheap paints, what happens is you can, let's see, spray this down, right? Grab some paint with your brush. Just grab whatever brush I have here. And then you can roll around and get some paint here. What happens if, I'm just gonna grab a random page here. What happens if you put that paint down? Usually with a paint that's not the craft paint, it's a little bit more expensive, you're gonna have a very dark mark. But look at this, we're already so light, and that's the most concentrated form we can grab. And then if I take water and I add it to it, that's a nice shade, but guess what? With normal watercolor, you should have a better experience. So when you're grabbing the concentrated color, it shouldn't be so transparent, it should be more opaque, meaning that you can add more water and you'll still have a nice amount of pigment. So the cheaper craft paints, they come with a lot more binder than pigment, and so you find that you're gonna have to use these in really concentrated forms like this, which ends up wasting more paint. It doesn't last as long. And see, this green shouldn't be so transparent still when I have it really thick, and yet it's already so transparent. I'm not going to be able to utilize this color very long. Let me show you compared to another paint I have over here, which is a professional one. So I'm grabbing some really concentrated purple. Okay. And really nice. And then I'm going to add in some water and sort of bring that out. And you can see it's a lot less transparent. You can see over here there's really a lot of lightness. That paper is coming through a lot. And you should be able to just take a tiny little bit of paint and do some good damage and allow that paint to last for a very long time. And so there's nothing wrong with Crayola. I think it's a great way to practice, but you might feel frustrated. It's not going to last as long. So then what's the recommendation? Because, you know, before I was like, use cheaper paper and that's okay just for your own mental health and not feeling stressed. When it comes to paint, honestly, the cheaper you go, the less brightness you're going to get with your color, the more binder and that filler you're going to get and less of that brightness. So I recommend a student grade. I have here a Light Wish palette, which I think is $30. I've got this Meeden palette, which I will link below. This one I think is $30 as well. Now we've got some from Meeden. These were little tubes that we got. We have some Paul Rubens, which these tend to run $20 to $30 also. Now, just before you start to get worried about spending $30 on a palette, I've got to let you know these will last you so long. These tiny little bits of paint really go a long way. And so if you're grabbing some of that paint and you're kind of mixing that in, you're gonna find out that it's actually going to last you a long time. So I'm just kind of getting that really concentrated amount. Also look at how this texture is here. It's kind of just gritty looking. It's not the best, it's not ideal. And so we've got some nice bright color on there. And then we can bring this down. And if I wanted to, I can grab this color, add it to my palette, add more water, and lighten it up. I'm still gonna have some nice color here, okay? So that one is a wonderful option. Just making sure you don't have to have professional paints. That's gonna be very expensive. But if you can afford $20 or $30, save up, get a palette that's got really nice, rich, vibrant paint. Student grade is fine. You're gonna see it's gonna last you a very long time, and I think you'll be very pleased with the results. All right, so brushes. What are good brushes? What are bad brushes? And what do you actually have to spend to have like a really good experience? So, you know, this is my opinion, and you can kind of take it with a grain of salt. One thing you need to look for is a brush that's going to last for a while. So if you have a brush set that comes with your Crayola set, it's probably not going to last very long. Some of these sets you can, some of the cheaper ones, you can kind of take your brushes and go like this. This one's not doing it, but sometimes if you can get those little hairs to come out, bad brush, right? You should never be able to pull out hairs just like this. Not that we normally do this, but there are some where that does happen. We have a set here of Paulina Bright, which her brushes can go for $50 or more. Beautiful brushes, but are they necessary, especially when you're starting out? Can you go with less expensive brushes? Over here, we've got a cheap set from Amazon, and I don't know if they cost maybe $10 for 12 brushes or something like that. Also a nice option. I cannot pull out, see, but look at this. This was broken and now that's falling apart. So, you've got to be careful with your brushes. Can I pull out the hairs? I cannot, okay? That's a nice little test to know when you wet your brush, can you make it have a nice point or nice tip at the end of it? Pretty good. So that's the big thing about round brushes. And you're gonna have a round brush that you're gonna use a lot. It's one of the most common ones for watercolor. So we have Princeton Heritage brushes here, which tend to run like $10, $15, $20 a piece. This one is probably about 20 bucks for this large 16 round. Over here we have Winsor & Newton brushes that tend to be kind of similar price, probably $20 and up. And then we've got these really expensive ones. These are very inexpensive. I think this is a great, you can get some great brushes on Amazon to start with. Then this is a Meeden set. I will link this below as well. I've been working with them for a year or two, probably a couple years. And for this whole set, it's quite affordable. If you'd like to check it out, you absolutely can. They've got really nice tips to it and can form a nice point when you wet the brush. Has all these fun little shapes. The bottom line is you want a brush that will go back to that pointed shape once you wet it, right? You clean it off and then you form that point. So these are brushes that this probably was 20, 25 maybe. Princeton Heritage or Cotman, Winsor & Newton. Honestly, these brushes will last you a long, long time. So if I were starting out with a very small budget like I had, I might go for some brushes on Amazon just to get me started, then save up to get some classic brushes that I can use over and over. For example, I use a 12 and an 8 almost exclusively for my flowers. So something to keep in mind, if you'd like a variety of things and they are still great, plasticky handles, like it doesn't feel as fancy as these shiny ones here, but lots of different shapes to play around with and very good affordable brush set. The point is you need something that you can use for a while. The bristles aren't falling out. You can make a nice little point for thin strokes and then have that thicker brush still for the thicker strokes. And make sure that you wash them well so you keep them nice and they will last you for years. I think the biggest detriment to your painting experience is really your attitude. Do you have a good attitude, or are you kind of just stuck, self-deprecating or kind of comparing yourself to other people, what they're doing, what they're painting? That can really get you down, It really can, and it's tough to get around it. Right now, we're just grabbing some different blues to create this beautiful loose floral. And I'm actually going to do a little bit of leaving some white space for some of this. Let's take off some of the paint too. Right there. I want to put those kind of together. Leaving the white space just leaves a little bit to the imagination, which allows you to, just kind of have fun with that. Let's do another blue flower. So yes, if you are experiencing just kind of being, self-deprecating and being hard on yourself with your art, that's one thing that really will get you down about your experience. If you compare yourself, as we're doing these swoopy petals, comparing your art to someone else, it's definitely going to keep you in a space that's going to be hard to get out of. And so I want you to think about how you can create art that is uniquely yours and that you're proud of. So I've just done some really loose blue florals here. I'm using that number 12 round. I'm using this Meeden Beautiful palette here. I think this is the more, not the natural green, okay. Is it this one? I can't remember. Some of these are very bright, and you can just add in something to neutralize it. So grabbing some brown to neutralize it. Really nice now, that's good. And we're just gonna put in some brush strokes here. So just dabbing upwards or downwards, I guess. We can even do some leaves here, some C-curve shapes. And I like to leave a little white space. We're just kind of leaving a little bit to the imagination, so to speak. A little bit of a stem. Take off some water, dab your brush, and then we can do some thicker strokes. I love to use the side of the brush. It gives me some thicker brush strokes in that way. Grabbing some more green, mixing that in so that we can vary up the greens on our brush and on our painting. So just think about this, like dabbing, scooching the paint down like this, dabbing and swishing your brush, just playing around with what that looks like. You don't even have to be like super detailed about where you're adding stuff or like make it realistic. You can just do these little quick dabs and see how it's starting to come together already. I kind of want to just bring it from this corner down to here, so I'm going to keep adding in some swipes and some swoops. And I'm going to take the tip of the brush. This is the Cotman brush. I do love it. And I'm going to just connect some things together. Really light pressure will allow you to add in some nice thin stems. Really, that one was a little bit less thick or thin, but that's okay. Light pressure. All right, and then we can add in some blue in with our green just to change it up a little bit. I always like to do a little painting, even if we're just talking about paint and talking about paper. I want to do a little bit of painting. Let's grab some brown to neutralize it. Oh, that's pretty dark. That's okay. It's going to get some good contrast on here so that, you know, we can do a quick little self-care project and you can feel good about what you're learning, putting it to practice. It's a little bit of a self-care boost. And remind yourself like you're having fun, okay? I hope you're having fun. I really do. I'm having a good time. So what I want to do now is add in some centers to these flowers. I'm going to dry them and I will be right back. All right, we're back. And I'm gonna take that number 8 round brush now. We're gonna do our center. Now you can do a very dark center if you would like. I think I'm gonna just go with, let's go with yellow. So I've got this nice cadmium yellow. See how I'm just swishing and swirling the brush around to grab a very concentrated version, okay? It's not like I'm mixing it with water over here to make it very loosey-goosey. I don't want that. And I'm just going to make these quick brush strokes around the center. And we'll add in, I think, a dark center in the middle. Okay, let's do that again. Grabbing some more paint. And if it feels too transparent, you can add some orange to it. Take a deep breath if you're feeling nervous at all. I always want you to check in with yourself. How is it going? Are you feeling good about your work? Tell yourself what you love about your painting. That's gonna really help you have a better experience. So I'm trying to figure out, oh, this is the green that I needed. I remember now. This is a beautiful green. I'm just gonna put a little bit on the top there. And it's already mixed dark, so I don't have to mix anything. So that comes with this palette as well. It's lovely. Just filling in those spaces where you feel like you want to take away some of the white space or adding in a little stem. All of this is experimentation, but the big point is to enjoy and to have fun with painting and not to be stressed about it. If your supplies are stressing you out because they're not good quality, get some better quality supplies if you can. If it's stressing you out that they are good quality and you're afraid to make mistakes with them, maybe get something a little less frightening, a little bit less intimidating, and go with something cheaper for practice. There's nothing wrong with that. If you want to save your beautiful painting supplies that are expensive for when you already kind of work out your composition, there's nothing wrong with that. this is your painting experience and you need to do it how you want to. So I give advice today, but that doesn't mean it's the end all and be all for all the things. Hopefully I said that right, okay? You figure out what works for you and you go with it. And that's the bottom line. All I can do is share what works for me. A little bit of blue, splatter on the page to complement the blue flowers, you guys. Happy painting, happy mental health, and I'd love to hear from you. Let me know in comments what you thought about today's video. Any thoughts about paper, brushes, paint, attitude, all the things. So I'm back, and I hope that this video was informative, inspirational. Let me know in the comments what you thought about the 4 things now that you know what they are. And again, maybe it's a different perspective than you've seen or heard about, that you have personally, that other artists have, that you follow. And I just hope that it can help broaden your perspective when it comes to all these things, and maybe loosen up the way that you see watercolor painting and your journey and all that stuff. And I wanted to remind you guys, I do free watercolor online workshops from time to time. And this Thursday, click the link below to register because I have another free one. It's morning time for me here in the Central Time Zone. So if you'd like to join us, you can register and you can join us for free and enjoy some painting time, a little hour of fun time doing the stuff that you love. Also, I want to remind you that I have my art retreat in Italy coming up this October. It's also linked below. If you're interested in that, you can read all about it and watch the video of what we did last year in Italy. I've got my Patreon and all these other things, my website linked below, so enjoy. And if you're interested in learning more about watercolor, check out this next video here. These are the tips and tricks that I would recommend for painting loose flowers. Happy painting, guys, and I'll see you soon.